Facebook has accepted your stream. YouTube has accepted your stream. Twitch has accepted your stream. Would you like me to send you a link?
Yeah, send me the link.
I'll send you the link to the show. Okay.
As you just send that to me.
Okay, good. Should I text it to you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Text is okay?
Yep.
Here is the link to the show. Sending it. You should now have the link. You can share it with anyone who you need to share it with.
All right, let's get it popping.
Okay. Shall we
Let's get it going.
shall we start the show?
Let's get it started. We already.
Now you see on the screen there it says number 5.
Yep.
It says it on that one too. All the screens are the same. When that says on the air, you are on the air, okay?
Got you.
I'll give it 2 seconds. You sent it to me, the link, so I can read the chat.
Okay, I'll wait till you send the link.
All right, got it.
Okay, the link has been set.
Wait, now that wasn't nothing.
Okay, now
Oh, yeah, it is.
you got to understand 2 buttons. Timer
Mm-hmm.
and fade to black at the end of the show. All right? This is called Stream Deck.
Timer fade to black.
Okay, now it is time for you to press the timer and look at the big screen. Oh, that's not working, is it? How about here?
Press it again.
That's not working. I'm going to do it manually. Okay, there we go.
Hey, 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 here we are, The Wright Report with your boy Jerome, all right, bringing you edutainment in the community. Listen, edutainment for the community. Humbly apologize. There was some technical difficulties, and if you thought this was going to come off without a hitch with the truth that we about to spit, then you don't know what you're about to get into. I hope you held on, and if you went away, I hope you come back. Keep checking, because we live. We are live and popping right now. My name is Jerome, all right. I will be hosting this show. I got on the 1s and 2s over there, my grandson, Jari Evans. He'll be fielding any questions and commentary that comes through so that we can keep this this interaction going. This is going to be a show of dialogue. Now, I done lost my notes today. We had technical difficulties getting this started. We're almost a half an hour past the time that I told you all to log in. So you know we in a battle right now. And this battle is for who's committed to this fight. Now, let this be the first edutainment lesson of the night. Obstacles are not put in our way to stop us. Obstacles are put in our way to see how committed we are to attaining the goal that the obstacle is blocking momentarily. So if you got frustrated by this, I don't know about how many Zooms you've been on that the host ain't show up, and how many other, webinars, seminars, you know what I'm talking about. It happens. And when you live, you can't really make nothing about it. You got to make it do what it do. Got to do like a grandmama said, take them lemons and make lemonade out of it. So we're going to try to sweeten the night up for you, although we got started late. Because we got started late, I'm really behind in some of the stuff I wanted to talk to you about. But let's open up with me saying that this show, which will be coming on periodically now, we first let me give thanks to and acknowledgments to Think Twice Radio, and its head here, Mr. Richard Wicker, who arranged for this opportunity to address my community. Mr. Wicker has a studio that is, bringing me live to you. And a couple of times a month we will be able to do this. And I want to thank Think Twice Radio. And Mr. Rick, I want to tell you, if you think twice, that means you think right. The Wright Report, remember that. So, I want you to settle back for a minute. Let me catch up with you. And then you ride with me on this ride that we're going to take in the Wright Report. These are some serious times, man. And the fact that we have a platform that we can address each other, because you can sign into the show, you can make comments. Got my boy on the ones and twos to field anything that might need to be addressed. But more importantly, I want to address you. I made the comment in my sending out people on here, probably the people who I asked to get on, and hopefully you'll encourage other people after this, knowing that we will never start at 7 p.m. I just figured that out. Technology has to be primed and everything, so it will be 7:30 start time from now on. So you don't have to be labored sitting there at a blank screen or them telling you you're not on or something. We will begin at 7:30, and I will get all of my follow-up documentation to reflect that for you. Okay. It is my honor, it's my privilege, my privilege to do this. But in my documentation, I said my show. But this ain't my show. Let's get that off the grip. This is our show. This is our show. This is our community's opportunity to have a platform where we can discuss things that nobody else is going to discuss, maybe at all, and definitely not to the depth that we're going. And the show ain't going to be all about criminal justice. It ain't going to be about social. It's going to be about a lot of different things. But right now, we're in a crisis situation in the criminal justice system, in New York State in particular, nationwide, of course. It is a crisis. And I don't use that word lightly. I'm not being hyperbolic. We have people dying. We got people dying daily in police custody, in local facilities, correctional facilities. I mean, it is, we all know that everybody's going to take that ride in life, but you don't go to corrections with a death sentence, because in New York State there is none. However, this crisis has manifested itself as a death sentence. For the beginning of this year, the media was saturated with reports about the illegal strike, the halt law, the murder, the lynching of Robert Brooks, the murder of Messiah Nantwi, the deaths of 9 to 12 incarcerated individuals as a result of the strike, and then the subsequent deaths of so many individuals now. And then we're talking about preventable deaths. We're not talking about natural causes. We're not talking about people who are dying because they had pre-existing conditions. We're talking about medical neglect, medical malpractice, brutality, murder. We're talking about crimes being committed against our citizens in there. And nobody wants to talk about that. But let them give a mic to a legislator or a judge or a DA or a correction officer, and all they spew is this untruth to you. And on this show, because you can't be wrong when you're rocking with Wright, you get nothing but truth. Now, I'm not going to argue with anybody. Arguing is for sports, baseball games, and all of that. We can debate, because what I'm going to talk about is factual, and when it's my opinion, I will be sure to make that disclaimer. But if you have facts that differentiate from mine, and they may be even more factual than mine, hey, I'm all for learning. This is edutainment. That means we're going to educate each other while entertaining some issues and ourselves. Back to, it's not my program, it's our program. And I want to start off by saying it's you and I. You and I. So you can't have unity without you and I, right? Yeah, some of you, give you a minute because I know you ain't been to school in a while. Some of you, it's your first day of school, so your mind ain't on spelling this, but U-N-I-T-Y. I know that Queen Latifah said it a little more lyrically sound, but unity, can't have unity without you and I. And by consequence, you can't have community without unity. Spell is a multi-word, but just C-O-M-M, you got it. This is what we want to build through this show, through this platform. Community. You and I, in unity, creating community to address the issues that negatively impact our community and to address issues that we know could positively influence and impact our community. That's what the Wright Report was about. Let's get it right. Let's get it right. Let's make it be right. Let's make them do right. And let's be right about it. That's what this is about. So it's you and I in unity, bringing our community together and understanding that none of us is as smart as all of us. I'm going to say that again for people who stepped away for a moment for whatever reason. None of us is as smart as all of us. Everybody on this stream, on these streams, it's on several platforms, everybody who's interested in being a part of this experience brings something to the table that nobody else does. And you the one who we need to bring what you have to the table to help us address these issues. I know we started late, so I'm a little behind. Not totally discombobulated, but I want to give you a sense about what this show is other than talking about it. Where I grew up at, the cloth that we cut from is you don't just talk about it, you got to what? You got to be about it. So there are some things that we could be doing, that we should be doing, that I swear before God we will be doing together to address these issues. I really want you to understand that this is not about me talking. I won't be doing it like this all the time. It's not I'm not a talk show host. This is not a podcast per se. This is an opportunity for our community to use this medium, these platforms, to discuss, rectify, and remedy issues that are plaguing all of us. And, what they say, if you want something you never had, you have to be willing to do something you've never done. Well, I've never done this. But I'm willing to do this because I'm at my wit's end for how we bring this thing together so that our situation is exponentially better than it is now. When they talk about crime, they don't talk about the crime generative factors. You don't hear that on the news. That's not the soundbite. Understanding that poverty is the number one component to crime, that racism is a number one component to crime, especially for my community. And when I say my community, I'm not just talking about black and brown people. I'm talking about all the people who share an understanding that humanity is in all of us, should be respected, dignified, and honored. Not those who would profiteer, harm, discombobulate, torture, or harm us. That's the ops. And so before you get into this, one side or other, there is a clear delineation that in my mind, anyway, that there's opposites, there's polarities to this thing. There's polarities to life. You wouldn't know and appreciate up if you've never been down. You wouldn't know sweet if you never tasted bitter. Day and night. Left and these polarities define what our life is. So you're gonna have an op. Because if you're doing something good, somebody's gonna try to do something bad or disturb it. So I expect that while we're doing this dialogue, that there will be people who try to play the games that they play in media land and hey, have at it. But we're gonna speak truth to power here. And so, by way of definition, I tell you, you got to learn something. We're going to do some of this, Kevin Hart. You got to learn today. So, the idea behind us having this dialogue and using this platform is to expound and articulate on those things that are plaguing us. And right now, it is the criminal justice system. It is what's going on that we didn't sign up for, that we pay to the tune of $3+ billion a year, and some. I want to define some terms first of all, and I'm sorry. And I didn't give honor to God who allowed me to have breath this morning, to allow me to speak this truth to you. And I'm not disparaging anybody's religious affinity or lack thereof. But I know who allowed me to have this blessing and to share this blessing with you. So I thank you, God, and I praise and honor you for that. We got to define these terms, like directly impacted. Do you know that the idea of divide and conquer is paramount in all of this? Is why we're in the situation we're in now. They got us so divided, and we use these terms and these words to divide us. So here's directly impacted. I did time. A whole lot of time, right? But when I did that time, there was a whole lot of people. Well, I don't say a whole lot. There was people who did that time with me. Wife, kids, family, friends in some cases. And they were directly impacted by my absence. You think my children did not suffer some impact by me not being there on a daily basis? But they want to make it seem like families and incarcerated individuals are some dichotomy. No, we are one in the same. There is direct impact on both of us. There's direct impact on our society. These billions of dollars that we are funneling to a system that's never meant to work for us, that was never meant to reach its stated goal. That money could be going to things that really could impact positively, especially the neighborhoods like the east side of Buffalo. I want that to sing in. Billions of dollars are being funneled into a system that we know does not work. It has proven itself. If General Motors or any company, Tesla, you name it, had a recall, which is recidivism rate, that the Department of Corrections, these local jails have, they would be out of business. In corrections, this carceral system is the only business that flourishes with the recall. I won't say the only. I think morticians do a pretty good job when we die, and that's a recall on us. But hey, the fact remains, they would be out of business. And to term yourself corrections or justice or any of that stuff with the amount of recidivism, death, discombobulated torture, and brutality, that is a misnomer of the first order. So let's cut this who's directly impacted. Whether you did 30 years in a cell or you've never touched a cell yourself, but you spent 30 years impacted by the person who spent that 30 years in the cell, we are all on the same plane. Let's stop letting them divide us and being complicit in that division. Can't tell me my wife is not directly impacted. Can't tell me my community, because when you take me out of the community as a resource, all right, I I ain't gonna further. I think we get the point. But so, there are no prisoners. There are no inmates, which I don't know what the heck that was to begin with. What's an inmate? We don't live in no inn, and there ain't no mates up in there. So there's no parolees. There's no probationers. There's none of these inanimate named objects that we're going to keep assigning to ourselves. So in the honor of Eddie Ellis, the father of this understanding of how powerful this language is it is to assign to ourselves or let others assign to us, we talk in people-centered language. What does that mean? That means we have people who are incarcerated, a person who is incarcerated. We don't have a prisoner, an ex-felon, we don't have those conjugations in other fields. Why do we get those conjugations? You can call me anything out of that list, and it's all inanimate. None of it defines me as a human being with certain rights and abilities. And when you stop looking at anybody as human, then you can dehumanize them in your mind. Then you can do what's going on in this system right now. Because if you acknowledge my humanity, then you got to acknowledge the lack of yours if you treat me in a certain way. If you expose me to the type of racism, brutality, violence, abuse, torture, and death that goes on all too readily. So let's call it what it is. People who are justice impacted. People who are on probation, parole, whatever the other thing is. But if we got to be people first, because if you don't see me as a person, then what do you see me as? An animal then that can be caged and given nothing. Because that's what we got going on right now. That is the crisis right now. The crisis right now is that we got the whole system on lockdown. I have been touting and screaming for months and years about things getting to that pre-Attica period. Well, this is September 4th, as a fact. In 5 more days, the Attica rebellion would have begun. It ended on September 13th with the massacre, again, the slaughter, which is, par for the course for the department, of men and even their own. So I could not start this show off without addressing this crisis, without addressing the history of Attica, because we all run around saying it's biblical, that those that only learn from history down to repeat it, and history this, history that. Yeah, we're watching it repeat itself right before us. Every single thing. And I don't say that often, because usually you can get every and nothing. But every single thing and some that those brothers fought, died for, rebelled against is what's going on right now. We got a system that is not only a powder keg, but a system that is reflective of all the things that were demanded to be changed because the brothers who died fought for them to their death. And now, a scant 54 years later, we're ready to throw all that out again and create another environment where people feel threatened enough, tortured enough, assaulted enough, racialized enough, that they have no other recourse than to resort to what those brothers felt they had no other recourse to resort to. Now, somebody listening, somebody here's going to say, yeah, he trying to cause. I'm not trying to cause anything. You're causing it by the situation you're putting men and women in, and women too. Let's not forget the women, that you're putting them in by not releasing them on parole, which is those brothers fought for a real shot at parole, making parole mean what it's supposed to mean. packages died to have food stuff, because you know what? You eat from after 5 p.m. 7 in the morning is when you'll eat again by their designation. If you have no foodstuffs, nothing to supplement that, then you go those many hours with nothing. Now, I don't know about you, but that's tantamount to fasting. All those hours from 5 p.m. at the latest to 7 a.m. at the earliest in the morning. Nothing. No snack. Nothing. And packages ameliorated that substantially. Or they say, oh, they get packaged because you can order from a vendor. Come on, highway robbery again. We ain't going to go there. They packages. Visitation. In-person visits are threatened again. Them brothers died not to be behind chicken wire and booth visits and phones that don't. That was the issue. And now we're going back to that, and you think a tablet, I know they had the commercial, AT&T is the next best thing to be in there, whatever. They had it right. The next best thing. It ain't the same as being there. You should have an inalienable right to have visitation. How do you get better? Without people coming to see you, checking on you, and holding you accountable for the changes that you're supposed to be making while you in there. Half of us zoomed out already. You want to put them on me and my kids are going to bond over a tablet? Is that what you're trying to tell me? That my family tree is going to be enhanced because I have unfettered life, unfettered access. Now, why would you give me unfettered access to the tablet and won't give me unfettered access to see my family in person? Why? I want you to ask yourself why. Because there's got to be a reason why visits are now under. Don't tell me about contraband. It's like with packages, don't tell me about contraband. Because for almost 3 years while the pandemic went on, contraband was in those facilities with no visits and no packages. Talk about it, man. Make it make sense for me. We can talk about it makes dollars and cents. It don't make no sense that for 3 years or more, when there was no access from the outside through packages and visits and all that, we still had drug epidemic going on in there. So who bringing it in? Nobody's going to tell you about the officers. 85 to 90% of them refuse to go through the type of screening coming into the facility that they demand and require you and I visiting our family to go through. Refuse. Let me try to refuse to go through a metal detector, some type of scanning, an ion and myon or whatever they using these days, and see if I get a visit. Why don't you deny them access to the facility on their work day if they don't go through that? And then you can say, come on, man, this ain't, man. They're not going to tell you that part of the story. That's why they don't want us having these platforms to speak truth. And speaking truth to power, let me get back to that definition because I digressed. Don't mistake this. Speaking truth to power is me and you speaking to each other because the power is with the people. The problem is we don't recognize our power for what it is. It ain't the people who think they're in power. It ain't the people who have the titles, the offices, and the cars. It is you and I in unity as a community. That's where the power lies. That's why I'm doing this now. I need you to understand together we can make whatever we want happen. But as long as we let them continue to divide and conquer us, separate us by conjugations of words and names, then we'll remain in the condition that we're in, with our people dying in there. Let me tell you something. Oh, somebody's on there, I'm sure they'll come up. You're always talking, if they're in jail, they should do this. Listen, New York State, one of the top 5 in the world in wrongful convictions. Wrongful convictions. I mean, people ain't did that. Whatever they charged with is wrong, that they get convicted and do time. Top 5. World. Look at the numbers. I ain't got time. That's why they got Google and all the rest of that. I got my facts here. You want to challenge it? Pull up yours. You're talking about they got understaffed. That's why they're not letting these brothers and sisters out of these cells. Why they got the entire system on solitary. In violation of Hart law to begin with, and now exacerbating that violation by inflicting that on the entire population, talking about how many they don't have the staff. Lie. Look it up. New York State, the highest ratio of staff, security staff, to incarcerated individual in the country. And it's gotten better. It was like, I don't remember the numbers, but it's like about 2.8 to 1 now. So where's you don't have a problem with your staffing. You got a problem with overpopulation. Having people still in there who don't deserve to be in there to begin with because they're wrongfully convicted. Shouldn't still be there because they meet every meritorious requirement that you have for parole release, for clemency, for medical release, for furloughs, for every amenity that the system can give somebody to get back out, get their life on track. Shut down. Programs that you need in order to go to the before the parole board to tell them, I did what you asked me to do, what you mandated me to do, you can't do. What are we doing here? What are we missing as a community? Because the joke is actually on us right now. They held an illegal strike that caused the death of at least 12 people, 12 incarcerated people. That's a serial killer. And no commissioner, no governor, no superintendent, nobody lost their job. 12 lives ain't worth one job in corrections. And I'm not laughing. That's a darn shame. That is criminal. Not only was it a legal strike, it was under false pretenses. These people said that they got on the news and talking about how unsafe it is. Well, I can tell you, if you look at the numbers, how unsafe it is. We've been dying, and 144 people died last year alone. Died, murdered, killed, gone. How many corrections? There hasn't been a death by a correction officer, by an incarcerated person in corrections since Donna Payon in 1981. And still, there are questions about the accuracy and authenticity of that conviction. Because I've been in Greenhaven, how they said it happened, I don't think so, but hey, if we can even take that one, that is the only one since 1981. I dare to count how many people have died in corrections since that time. And you're talking about how safe it is. You beat and lynch a man to death on video in front of 30 staff as a make a point that you in our house, and because I still don't know what they still never told us what justifies that. What comes out is just like Clinton and everywhere else. It's the welcoming committee. Let you know when you come here, we heard over there that you think you was this, that, the other, or we don't like, and they just pound you out. You know? They pound this man to death on video. Thank God it was on video. And thank God they didn't know they were on video, because I could hear now, stop resisting, you know, that's the standard line. Stop resisting while they beat him to death. But there was no stop resisting because he never was. Didn't have the opportunity. Shackled and handcuffed. And it take that many of you guys to beat him down. And they won't talk about that. They talking about halt. That because of halt, let me tell you something. If anybody walks up and assaults an officer and you really investigate that, they either have a mental health issue or that person actually violated in a way that a person is willing to die and or get more time because they know that's going to happen. So to act like people are running around punching officers and other incarcerated people in the face because halt exists is just fake. It's just false. It's just false. Read the law. There are sanctions for every violation that is of any consequence in the halt law. But nobody read it. And then you got these officers who lost their job, and then they read it. So that means, but they didn't know it would. They picketed and riot and left the job for people to die, and didn't even know what it was about because they said when they read it, and they told us all this Mandela rules. They were all for it now. Now I don't know if that's authentic because they were all for it because they want their jobs back, or if they was all for it because they never read the law, but they stood out there in them facilities while people died in there saying something was wrong with it. But they couldn't have read it because the Mandela rules is emblazoned in every fabric of the law. So if you're just figuring out now that it really got some good points, then you didn't read it to begin with. You went on what the stratagem was from the department to do. Let me tell you what happened. And I have this, like I said, I'm ready to, in Collins Correctional Facility, a sergeant came into the dorm, whispered in the ears of two of the officers who were staffed there. Those officers packed their stuff, got up, and the sergeant and left. Immediately, people in that dorm said something is wrong. Did they barricade? Yeah, because they just knew that exit meant that the goon squad was going to enter. And because they ain't did nothing wrong, they didn't know why, and was trying to protect themselves. That was the start of this illegal strike. A staged abandonment of a post in a medium facility to engender empathy and to distract from the lynching of Robert Brooks and subsequently the murder of Nasiah Nansby. Total subterfuge. And unfortunately, most of the media seem to have gone for it. But I do have an offer for you. Like I said, we ain't going to just talk about it. We're going to be about it on October 20th. You're going to have the opportunity. If you live in this area, or if you live anywhere in New York State, in three locations, of our Journey to Justice tour, get on the bus. The Unlock the Box campaign, a national campaign to eradicate the torture and the death associated with solitary confinement, has a bus that will be traveling across the state. And on October 20th, it will be in Buffalo, New York, at Elam Christian Fellowship Church on Chalmers Avenue, 70 Chalmers, in the parking lot. And it will also have a replica solitary confinement cell. So, all you people who watch those news reports when they said solitary ain't nothing, they need it and they should be doing it, and it doesn't cause the harms that the law explains and proved over years, I want you to come on over to Elam on the 20th October and go into the mock cell. The bus there, it's an interactive bus. There's VR goggles. There's other interactive things you can do on the bus to also learn about solitary confinement and its ills. But the cell will be there because they told you That it's just another cell like any other cell in the facility, and all you gotta do is stay in it. And this is not the Shawshank Redemption, and this is not Escape from Alcatraz. This is not all of these Hollywood versions. They said that we were depicting of solitary, when I don't have to depict anything. I was in solitary, and I don't care how good the cell look. The fact that you're in it 23 hours out the day with no meaningful human interaction, no recreation, no real recreation, no programming, no therapy, no treatment, no education, that is the torture. That is the torture. Do you know, I don't know about you, but I remember when I was growing up, I got in trouble. I wanted a whipping. Please beat me. A whipping was always better than a punishment. Because that whipping, bang, it hurt. Maybe get a whelp or two. My mom's dead, so CPS, y'all can forget that. And it was over. You put a little calamine lotion or something on it, a little Vaseline, a little tussin or something, and you back outside popping off. But a punishment, solitary confinement, being confined in the house, not in the room, but in the house while the world went on, that was pure torture. I don't know what makes you think that going from that being torture to a correctional facility where you're only in your cell now, away from everybody and everything, and can't do anything but be at their mercy, that's going to be not torture. But come on down, October 20th. Now, if you're listening to this and you're in other area, we have two other areas in the state. We got going down to the Mount Kisco area. We got the bus going down there on the 22nd. And on the 23rd, it will be in New York City at the Harlem State Office Building with the cell there, too. And all these places, the cell will go along with it. And I want you, like I said, this is about you and I want you to experience what I had to experience. But believe me, it won't be the same, thank God. Because when you go in, you know you're coming out. What you'll experience is understanding how devastating that experience could be to a human being. How detrimental it is to anybody's growth and development. How it can make you more bitter than better. How it can make you more violent than virtuous. How it can completely discombobulate your life because you're in there for weeks, months, years, and pray tell, we got people in there for decades. We've had. So I want you, do the experiment. Don't let me or the other media tell you that this ain't no problem. Come and find out, because I can guarantee you, I've been bringing themselves around these areas for at least a decade. And not a single person, if they go in there, because some people even refuse, knowing that they can come out, knowing there's no lock on the door, knowing that, we can leave the door open, they don't even want to go in. That's how torturous the effect is. That you don't even want to experience it. Jesus. So, we got people right now dying in general population because they're being tortured in solitary-like conditions. We got people on Rikers Island, 5 in the last 2 weeks, dying from medical neglect, medical malpractice, just not caring. We got people dying in the Erie County Holding Center who have died for years, and this county's been paying out millions and millions of dollars that could be going to other things. We got death and degradation in this system. Where's the healing? Where's the help? Where's the rehabilitation? Where's the care? Because they say it's care, custody, and control. That's their motto. You know how the police is protect and serve, which we ain't going to go there, but Department of Corrections. Care, number 1, custody, and control. I see a department that don't care, with oppressive, repressive, and now deadly custody, and that's completely out of control, that it would lock everybody down. To avoid dealing with an issue that's plagued it for the longest: racist brutality, death, and assaults. See, we've been talking about this for eons. I remember Butch Harvey getting killed. Shout out to the William Harvey family. Giant. Murdered, strangled. Great Meadow Correctional Facility. But just like he gone, Great Meadow gone now too. And we got to close these places that kill our people with impunity. Because nobody did any time for that. That was in the 80s when they was killing us and burying us under the jail in Clinton, finding bones. Come on, man. I just want us to know how serious this is. We're not talking about, a little bit of torture. We hate torture is torture. It's like a sin is a sin. Ain't no little bit of torture. I just really want us to know that right now, everybody in that strike really got off with impunity. But people died, and they took the strike inside. That's the crisis now. They're using this. Listen, they got 18-year-olds. Let me take my glasses off. Maybe you need to see my eyes, because I want you to tell me if I'm seeing. Maybe it's the darkies that got me seeing wrong. They got 18. They have lowered the age. They have relaxed every restriction, every requirement necessary to become a correction officer. And what do you think that's going to do? That's going to get you more bodies. But we got grown men in there, ill-prepared to do the job they're doing, who are going to be mentoring these young people who are not emotionally or more ill-prepared to do the job. For what? For what? To keep the numbers up? To keep them employed? Because they're not coming on my block hiring nobody. And you know that. We had to fight to get women and people of color even in some of those doors. And they still are racist. Santiago versus Miles. My case. Santiago versus Miles. Federal case. Discrimination. Proven against Elmira Correctional Facility. What was the discrimination? They discriminated in housing. Nah, they didn't have penthouses. That means they discriminated in who got what cells. Oh my. Honor block, 85% white population, 85% black. Housing. They discriminated in what blocks you could live in because they wanted to keep some homogeneousness about the white people that was locked up, regardless of their crimes, regardless of their situation, just because of their skin. There was a joke that if you went to the program committee and asked for a job, like any of those areas that only white people go in, they would take you to the box. Say, you playing games. You just assaulted me with my intelligence by telling me you want to work over there. You know we don't let none of y'all up there. Go, take them to the box. Solitary confinement, SHU, they got all the names for it. So, discrimination, that didn't change because we won the lawsuit, because they made some quotas. That ain't changed the racism, man. And Elmira is emblematic of the system. It is not as we saw with the deaths, the murders of Messiah and Robert Brooks. Facilities almost adjacent to each other. Culture of violence. Now, I want you to know, I am not going to be on here every time we get on there. I'm going to be on here again on the 7th and the 11th and just talking at you. I want to have an open dialogue, but I want to set the tone for what we're in September, embarking upon the 54th anniversary of the most deadly rebellion in this country. The rebellion at Attica State Prison in September of 1971. We do not want another Attica. I don't want it. And I'm sure even the staff that work there who know how that one turned out don't want it either. Because they have shown that they have no problem whatsoever taking out their own. to maintain the status quo. Well, our motto has been justice will thrive in 2025, and that the status quo must go. And I'm appealing to you now to come to this show. Let's talk about ways that we can coalesce, unify, and use that unity as the strength that we need to overcome some of these terrible obstacles that have now become deadly. I mean, it wasn't a joke when we were just losing our liberty. But now we're losing our lives. We're robbing our community of the resources of the men and women who not only have learned their lesson and grown from what they learned, but who are in their models of community activism and mentoring that should be out here doing the community activism and mentoring. I mean, we talk about overall system. I mean, we really want to abolish this thing. But we got to understand that in the effort to abolishment, that we got to ameliorate the issues that are happening today. We can't focus on what we're trying to get done tomorrow without making sure that brothers and sisters living righteously on today. That's our responsibility. And that's what I'm appealing to you for. Again, this didn't start out like I wanted. We were late. Sorry. Technical difficulties. Thought I'd never be able to say that with any real authenticity. Technical difficulties. A little mismanagement of time with, understanding how this thing works. I mean, this is actually my first time doing a show by myself. I've had the pleasure of being on this Think Twice with other people as a guest, and to host it now is like a real blessing. And so, it ain't gonna, like I said, it's not going to always be about what we're talking about now. But when there's a crisis, that's what you talk about now. That's what you deal with now. That's what you do something about now. So I'm asking you, you're going to join me on the 7th, 7:30 p.m. And somebody say, I'm going to jump on, but 7 to 9, that's 2 hours. I ain't got that much time. I wanted to be flippant and come back and say something to them. I'm not going to blow them up by saying their name now, but even if they're on, because it's an hour in almost, the things that we prioritize in life, we don't complain about what we give to it. If it's money, time, effort, whatever. It's time to prioritize some of these things and give what's required of it rather than the inconvenience it may cause. Now, I know everybody don't got 2 hours to throw around, but I put my schedule up against anybody in the world. Anybody. Prince or pauper. I put my schedule up. I'm going almost 20. Matter of fact, people call me any time of the day or the night like I'm on call, like I got a PhD or something. I am a deacon, but I ain't got a PhD. But I'll get a call 3 in the morning, 5 in the morning. And you can't, I'm up at that time. Because I'm committed to making some change. What are you committed to? Are you committed to doing that with me? Can't be wrong if you're right. I see you, Vic, my partner. I see him. I see y'all typing in, man. I really appreciate, the support. But, they would say that this is preaching to the choir. But the choir need to hear the message too. Because that make them sing that song with a little bit more faith. With a little bit more, energy. And it puts that fire back in them too. So I don't mind preaching to the choir. Maybe you should join the choir instead of talking about who I'm preaching to. Join the choir. Let me tell you something, man. You can't be wrong if you're right. Jerome, all right. Wright report. Edutainment in the community. Listen, we got jokes. We got the word of the day. We have the quote of the day. We got the word for the day. That's our spiritual segment. We got some things for you, man. But you got to let me figure this thing out a little better, because today we was really off track. But it's a crisis. And things have to... Listen, I got a couple of quotes here that I definitely... that hit me, and it says, what you're not changing, you're choosing. And that's what they feel about us. We're not making the effort Herculean effort to change this thing. So they say we're choosing to be in the situation that we're in. And I'm beginning to believe that our complicity is more the detriment than their committedness to put us in the position that we're in. Our complacency and complicity. I'm no longer going to be complacent or complicit. Not that I feel I have been up to this point, but I do know you got, you know, they say if you got the same haters this year that you had last year, that you ain't stepped your game up. Well, I'm stepping mine up, and I need you to step it up with me. I need us to walk lockstep on this new mission to let's do this thing right. And that's not just a pun intended. And doing it right means doing it together. Because any burden shared is lighter on all parties concerned and usually results in mediation, in some type of remedy. Again, none of us is smart as all of us. Somebody's sitting right now, right here on this stream with the stratagem that can get us from where we are to where we want to be. It's your own fear of standing up and standing out, of shining like the diamond that you were created to be, that right now got us not figuring this thing out. So yeah, I'm blaming you. I'm doing my part. I'm trying. Question is, are you ready to do your part? Because I can't do it alone. Remember, you and I, in unity, makes the community. And when the community is strong, can't much go wrong. Because then, that's the power. That is the power of the people. That's who I'm speaking to. And I'm not talking about community as far as geographic areas. Not talking about community. Because everybody is impacted. I remember I told you that. So whether you waiting for it to come to your door or not, it has already arrived. Your life could be much better if what wasn't going on, the way it's going on, was going on. And when we change that, believe me, they say the rising tide lifts all boats. Yeah. But until we remember and understand, that we may not all be in the same boat, but we're all navigating the same storm, then we can link our boats together and make it safely to shore. But right now, we sailing haphazardly, bumping into each other, sinking each other, hating on each other. Community. We need community. Our definition of community, not nobody else's. And our definition of community is those who have a love for their fellow human beings. Love for. You gotta like them, because I don't like everybody. But I love a whole lot of people I don't like. Because you got to have love, even to like some people. But you got to have love to have a community. We're all different for a reason. That is the mosaic of life. Man, if we was all the same, man, that would be some real boring, vanilla, pun intended stuff. But we not, and that's for a reason. That's because when we come together as a community, thank you, Clint. Thank you, Clint, for getting on, man. Because I know a lot of people got discouraged and got off because we was late. I know a lot of people heard me banter, say, well, that's Rome, I heard him before. I know a lot of people say, well, what is this? I'm on. And what it is we're at a crisis. The lives of our family, friends, and fellow citizens are at stake because of a system of perpetual racism, brutality, torture, and death. Now, I know people say, oh, you did a crime. Listen, man, before you start judging people, why don't you find out what their situation is? Because there are plenty of people upstate that did nothing. There are plenty of people locked up that only there because of the lack of the funds to have a lawyer that could prove their innocence. Or they had a problem in the past and they're afraid to jeopardize themselves in front of a jury, not of their peers, to get more time than they're being offered in a plea. Do you know that more than 90% of the sentences are plea deals? So that must mean 90% of people are guilty, right? Not. not. 90% of the people don't have the money to have a good attorney, don't have the wherewithal to fight for themselves, and don't want to do more time than what's on the table before them. Take this 2 to 7 or this 15 years. Somebody that don't even know how to do math know which one is better. I want to shout out, we don't do a lot of shout outs, but I want to shout out to my brother Rennie and Dirk Hamilton, Bush, brothers who have proven and shown through their fight for the wrongfully convicted, the friends and family of wrongfully convicted. That's how we know now that this thing is set up, that there's so many brothers sisters locked up who ain't did nothing wrong, but be in the wrong place at the wrong time, or be hemmed up by a system that has done them wrong. Shout out to you brothers for keeping that fight on, bringing brothers home, sisters home, but still not giving up at that, but being in this fight for a broader fight that we have. So listen, I ain't gonna bog you down with all of the things that are coming up, but I will be giving you the news you can use. We will give you scheduled updates of things going on in the community and around the state. I'm gonna bring it to you. You got to be here to get it, and when you get it, we got to do something to it, do something with it. People always say knowledge is power. Well, not necessarily. Knowledge is potential power. First of all, what's the knowledge you have? Knowing anything. How many points KD hit when he was with Brooklyn is knowledge, but that ain't going to get you much. Knowledge is potential power. And it's only really powerful when you use the knowledge that you have. We need y'all to enlighten us with your knowledge. Because I'm going to bring what I got, what little it is, what limited it is, but I'm going to bring it. I'm laying it all on the table. I'm all in. What about you? It's time for a change, man. If not us, who gonna do it? If not now, when it gonna get done? Yeah, I'm talking to you. Yeah, facts. You and you and you and you. That's on here. And I don't care about, I'm walking with you wrong. I did that. I do this. Listen, it is time for a movement. Not a moment. Not a mission. Not a bill. It is time for a movement. Movement is what changes things. Movements are so strong. Movements are like water that could cut through a rock because they just keep moving forward with item after item on the agenda to make everybody's life better. Because when the least of us is all right, then the best of us is even better. So, my apologies for the technical difficulties. My apologies for the rant and rain. And I mean apologies in the fact that this ain't what you're going to get from now on. But we're about to step out. Thank you for joining us. See you on the 7th, 7:30. We're going to pick it up from there. Have a good evening. God bless. And the movement is on.